Have you ever wondered if the secret to stronger roots has been hanging from a tree all along? Or if that little packet of yeast in your kitchen could actually give your plants a boost? Today, we're putting two fascinating natural gardening ideas head-to-head in a hypothetical educational comparison: banyan roots versus yeast. Which one would come out on top and could either replace commercial rooting products? Before we begin, here's something important. This is an educational comparison based on traditional gardening practices and what we know about plant and soil biology. If you decide to experiment in your own garden, think of this as a starting point rather than a proven recipe. Gardening is all about observing, learning, and adapting. Welcome back to the Soil Science Garden, where we dig deeper than the surface to uncover the science behind healthier plants and richer soils. Let's start with the banyan tree. If you've ever seen one, you'll know it's unlike almost any other tree. Instead of relying on a single trunk, it sends long aerial roots down from its branches. Once those roots reach the soil, they thicken into new support trunks, allowing the tree to spread over an enormous area. That remarkable ability has led many gardeners to wonder whether banyan roots naturally contain compounds that encourage rooting. It's an interesting idea. Plants produce hormones called auxins, which help regulate root growth and development. Because banyan trees continuously produce new aerial roots, some gardeners believe young root tissues may contain naturally occurring growth-promoting substances. While there isn't strong scientific evidence proving homemade banyan root extracts work as rooting hormones, the theory is inspired by real plant biology rather than pure myth. Now let's move to something much more familiar: yeast. At first glance, it seems strange that the same ingredient used to bake bread could benefit a garden. But yeast is a living microorganism, and when mixed with water and a small amount of sugar, it becomes highly active. As it feeds, it releases enzymes and organic compounds while interacting with other microorganisms already living in the soil. Here's the important distinction. Yeast doesn't directly force a cutting to grow roots. Instead, it may help create a healthier microbial environment around the roots, especially in organic soils rich in compost. Think of yeast as feeding the underground community rather than feeding the plant itself. So if we imagined placing identical plant cuttings into two separate treatments, one soaked in a homemade banyan root extract and the other in a diluted yeast solution, what might happen? At first, both cuttings would probably look almost identical. Root formation takes time, and during the first few days, success depends more on moisture, temperature, and healthy plant tissue than on any homemade treatment. That's why many gardeners mistakenly believe a product works after only 2 or 3 days, when the cutting hasn't even begun producing new roots. But as the days pass, the differences could become more interesting. One treatment aims to encourage rooting directly through naturally occurring plant compounds, while the other focuses on improving the biological activity surrounding the roots. They're trying to help the plant in two completely different ways. And that's where things get really surprising. In Part 2, we'll explore which approach would likely produce stronger root systems, which one is backed by better scientific reasoning, and whether either method can realistically compete with commercial rooting hormones. The answer might completely change how you think about natural plant propagation. If you're enjoying these science-backed gardening insights, don't forget to subscribe to the Soil Science Garden because we're just getting started.